Everyone, welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It is currently really cold right now, and I just got in from shoveling a ton of snow that we had come down over the last 2 days, so I'm still cold. Pardon the toque, but I just need to stay warm today. So I am very excited to be with you on a very special edition of Show Me How It's Done, because this is a sneak peek of a stamp set that's coming out March 4th. So every once in a while, Stampin' Up! Releases stamps, paper, ribbons, goodies that are not available in a catalog, and they are part of our online exclusive selections. So if you head to my website at the bottom of the page, laurenurbonis.stampinup.net, and you click shop and products and what's new, there will be a section that talks about online exclusives. These are items that are not available in print. They don't show up in a catalog, but you can order them. So there are a bunch of products that you can purchase right now, and you can take advantage of Celebration, which is on until February 29th. That gives you free items for every $60 or $120 that you purchase. And I would love to help you find stuff if you are in Canada and need a demonstrator. Now on March 4th, there is going to be a whole plethora of new products being put into that online exclusive selection. And today I'm going to show you one of them. I will be playing with a couple of the other suites that are coming out in my March and April card clubs. And so you will also see them probably in upcoming Show Me How It's Done videos. But if you want to get a hand on some of those cards that are using new online exclusives, send me a message. I can send my March card class anywhere in Canada, and it is $15 or free with a $35 order from my website. So even if you order this month to take advantage of Celebration, I will just give you the March kit, because February's card class, sometimes I'd give those even after the class, but I had a lot of Valentine's cards, and that's kind of past. So take advantage of those opportunities, because there are so many fun things coming out. But I wanted to show you how to make a couple cards here using the Pets and More stamp set. Now these two cards, I have to say, I cannot take credit for them. Stampin' Up! Gives us little sneak peeks of how we can show the cards and the projects to you. And these two designs were ones that Stampin' Up! Came up with. I added a few tweaks here or there, and they may look slightly different than their samples because I was designing off of a photo. So I kind of have realized that as I've made these, they might have cut their paper a little bit smaller, but I'm happy with mine, and I kind of just added some finer details in there to fix the blanks that I thought I had. So let me show you how to use this set. I thought these were both adorable. They have a woof equals thanks, of course, in puppy language, and meow equals thanks in kitty language. You can customize these to use any sorts of colors you want, but I wanted to make this set as close to theirs as possible. And then I actually have a few ideas of how I can use my leftover pieces and some of the other critters in this set to make a few different ones, and that will be a different video for you. But I'm going to move the puppy out of the way because I've decided we're going to use the kitty. The only reason that I'm doing that is because when I run my dies through, I have to run the O through twice, and that just takes up a little bit of your time for the puppy card. So you can keep that as like a little mental picture. When those online exclusives are released March 4th, you will see a card very similar to this in the photo inspirations. The only additions are probably this splatter look, and I used a different stamp set for the word thanks and kind of switched things around. But there's one idea. He's going to go away. Now, the one thing that I love about this stamp set is it's a reversible stamp. So that's going to give you a stamp that can do both this background kind of set shading and then the front as well. So I will show you how to do that. Keep this in mind as something that might be fun for you to look for on March 4th, and message me if you need any help finding it. Okay, so to create this, and I know you won't have the stamp set yet, but rewatch this video on March 4th or whenever you get your goodies, and you can make it with me. So here is a piece of Smoky Slate cardstock. I have cut this at 5.5 by 8.5, and we're putting a little score mark right down the middle at 4 1/4. So that will give us a nice card that we can fold in half and burnish with our bone folder. For the inside of my cards, I always like to have something to write on. So I've cut myself a piece of basic white. This is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. And just keep in mind, because I know all of you are going to have to recreate this after with the replay, I have listed all the measurements and all the supplies in the video description, so you can easily come back and just have all these pieces prepped and ready to go for yourself. Oh, don't go down yet. Well done. My depth perception is not working. There we go. Try again. Perfect. Now this I thought would be really fun to maybe stamp a few things on the inside later. You could add your little fish kind of in one of the corners and have them swimming around, or you can add the little cat toys, whatever you want, but come back and decorate that. Let's concentrate on the front. So for the front of our card, it is going to be really fun for you to add some little details before we start layering up. So I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper because, of course, we're stamping some of those fish off the page and I don't want them all over our desk. So we're going to grab that reversible little fishy image. We're going to put it on so the bumpy part is facing outward, which is usually how we stamp. You'll see later why I have to explain that. And then you're just going to stamp a few fish randomly on your card here. So it doesn't really matter. You can stamp them high, you can stamp them low, but you just want a few little fishies kind of swimming around for the background corner. Then we're going to go to the bottom and do the same thing. Those fish don't have to look the same. They can be swimming in all different directions, and you're just adding about 3 or 4 of them. Okay. You will need that scrap again, so keep it handy, but you can go ahead and move it out of the way for the moment. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a piece of white cardstock, and that's our next layer. So this piece I've cut at 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I'm popping it up on dimensionals so that it comes off the page quite nicely for me. All right. All my dimensionals are sticking together. There we go. There. Now this should be able to be centered. You'll have quite a nice large gray border around, and you should be able to see some of those little fishies sticking out, and some of them will get kind of covered up. Now we're going to set this base aside for a moment because we need to focus on some of our little building pieces, and then we will come back to it and add those all together. So we're going to start with building this little meow piece. So this is using a piece of blueberry bushel cardstock. I've cut it at 2 inches by 3 inches, and then I'm going to use the little dies from our a la mode die set. Now this is found, I can show you, in our annual catalog, and I like this set a lot. It's on page 162 in the back, but you can see it in use on page 172. Now, the thing that I love about this die set is it gives you doubles of some of the most commonly used letters. I don't know why O isn't in there. I really feel like O should have had 2 of them as well, but it's okay. They did a good job with the A's, the E's, the N's, the T's, the S's. Those are all there, but we probably could have used 2 O's. This is a really fun set. You can kind of build your own words and make up as many phrases and words as you want. There's even some little accents that you can use to add kind of like umlauts or accents or whatever if you're kind of using a different language. Now, the one thing I will note is when you are using these alphabet a la mode dies, if you're using the letters themselves, they are super, super skinny, okay? You can use the liquid glue in order to attach them, but you might want to consider getting our adhesive sheets, turning your cardstock into a sticker before running it through the cut and emboss machine. And then that way, when you peel this off, it's got the adhesive on and you're not going to stress yourselves out by trying to get glue on those teeny tiny little parts. So just a thought for you, I am not using the little letters right now, so I don't need to worry about using those sheets. I'm gonna grab my cut and emboss machine. I need to move this. I will try to show you how I have it set up. So let me move that up. There, I think you can see. Okay, so we're going to put this horizontally, and then you're going to fit your little dies in. Don't make them straight. Make them kind of fun and funky. You want them to fit definitely within this little rectangle, but they don't need to all be going the same direction. So put them on, make sure you're happy. You've kind of got a like fun, playful little scene going on. And then you should be able to roll this through all together. Now, when you are doing that woof one, if you're doing the puppy version, just keep in mind, you'll have to do like W-O, leave a little space and an F, and then you'll have to come back and roll this through again with that O a second time, because there's only one O in this set. All right, I'm using my purple plate because it's fancy and glittery. This is not from Stampin' Up, so don't fall in love with it. It just helps me to know what the top plate is. All right, I am going to make sure these go somewhere very safe because they are easy to get lost. So let's move over. And then don't throw these little pieces out. They're going to come in handy if you want to use them in the future. And in fact, I might make another card with them, but I didn't today. So I'm going to take them all out and just set them to the side of my workspace. You will want to keep the center part of your O though, because the letter looks a little sad without it. So don't throw that part away. And don't throw this negative away, because that's what we're using. You're done with your cut and emboss machine, so it can go down on the floor or off your desk. This guy is ready to go. I'm going to set it aside and get my other pieces ready, keeping that center of the O with it as well. Now my next thing that I will need is, I need that scrap. There we go, a scrap piece of white, because we are going to make ourselves a little kitty, and I'm using pumpkin pie ink to make my kitty, but I know everyone has cats of all different colors, so grab whatever you like. I'm going to grab pumpkin pie. The thing that I'm going to start with is I'm going to take my cat and the bumpy side here. I'm going to make sure that that's facing up. We're going to stamp this in full strength onto our page. Nice and orange. Okay. Now, here is how a reversible stamp works. You're going to need to have a cleaner handy. So I love my chamois. I just store it in a old Stampin' Up stamp case, and you can see it's been well loved, but as long as you rinse it out, doesn't matter if it gets stained. As long as there's no ink color coming out when you're rinsing it, it's fine. So wipe off your stamp. And then we're going to take the stamp off the block and turn it over. This back side now can be used to give you this inside orange look. But keep in mind, if I was to ink up my stamp and stamp it at full strength, my cat would be quite blended. I wouldn't have that nice two-toned look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp onto my ink pad and pick up as much color as I can. Then I'm going to grab that scrap paper that I had earlier. I'm going to stamp off one time. So I've got that. Then I'm going to come over top of my cat, and because it's a see-through photopolymer set, I will be able to see exactly where I need to put this. Now, this is about a foot in front of me, so sorry. I have to move this back. I'm gonna line it up, and then I will move it back. See, it's perfect. You're going to press down and make sure you get nice, clear coverage over your kitty. See, oh, I had an Ara hair in there. Whoops. Oh well, cats have lots of hair too. Now we're gonna move this out of the way, close up your ink, and you do need to fussy cut. So I know some of us love fussy cutting and some of us don't. This set does not have dies, though some of the things that are coming out March 4th do. If you are a coffee lover, if you are a flower lover, if you like little wagons and garden scenes or magnolia flowers, there's some really good stuff coming out. I'll use a new product next Tuesday as well on the video. So you'll be able to see something right away. So I like to leave a little bit of white space. That's me personally. If you want your cat to look maybe more natural, you cut right onto the orange and then you won't see any white. I'm not a very good precision cutter, so I like the forgiveness that the white around it offers. There we go. Cute little kitty. Okay, so that's ready to go. And while you still have that scrap, there is a little ball that you can find right here. And if you stamp that with Calypso Coral, Coastal Cabana, then you'll have a really cute little ball that you can fussy cut. Or if you are somebody who's a collector of all things Stampin' Up, we once upon a time had this teeny tiny little, I want to say this is like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. Oh, it even says here, what does it say? 3/8 of an inch circle. That one works perfectly. So I cheated. You might have to cut it out from scratch, or you might have a layering circle die that would also fit. So feel free to use those because it's a tricky little shape. So we're gonna have that guy cut out. And then the last thing that we have to have prepped before we start is this little thanks decal. So the little Pets and More set here, you can see there are no words that come with it. The sample that Stampin' Up! Offered had the word thanks, but I honestly don't know where they got it from. It looked a lot smaller than mine. And so I either missed it or it's just hiding somewhere, or they used like part of a different set. So I took the liberty of using a set that I've actually been preparing a card for March's club. So this little ice cream one, we're going to do a card with that. And I just grabbed the thanks from this guy here. So you can grab one from anywhere you want. It's a little bigger probably than what you're used to or what you'll see on the other card, but that's okay. Now I have thanks. I have Blueberry Bushel to match my cardstock, and I need a piece of white. There we go. Okay, I cut myself, or I just used a scrap of white. It's about 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. So just slightly bigger than my stamp. And we're gonna ink up Blueberry Bushel, which is nice and juicy. Some of mine need re-inking. And I'm stamping more towards the right-hand side. It's not centered because I thought it was really cute. Stampin' Up! Did like an equal sign. And all you need to do is grab your black Stampin' Right marker or any sort of black pen and freehand it. Now, I like Stampin' Up! Because I am not a good person to do calligraphy. I don't like my writing. I don't like my drawing. So I've just purposely made my equal signs look fun and funky. I didn't do 2 straight lines because goodness knows they wouldn't end up straight. So we're just gonna kind of squiggle our way over and do 2 lines, and then I go over them again so they're nice and thick. Don't be afraid to make things funky. If you're not confident in how your straight lines would look, make them look different, okay? I'm gonna say I like it. This guy is ready to go. Now we're ready to build, so you can bring back that base. There we go. And we're gonna start with the Meow base to to be our focus. So this guy I thought would be easiest if we just used our liquid glue. So I'm going to grab that guy, and all you need is just tiny amounts. Don't try and fill in every single space. Just give it like a nice bit of support with tiny dots. You don't want these seeping through and ruining your space. Okay. This guy looks good to me. If you've got tweezers, you might want to use them to pick it up. But with the dots, you often end up with enough space to work. Now this guy is going off-centered towards the top left. Okay. And then I did remind you not to get rid of this circle here. So we're going to put a little bit of glue onto that. That will go right in the center of the O, because do you see how different they look if you were to leave that out? I don't really love it. So, important piece going right in there. Okay, there we go. Next, we're going to do our little kitty up on some dimensionals. So the kitty just needs a couple of them on the back here. Sorry, you can't even see that. There you go. And we're just putting that towards kind of the right-hand bottom side. Then we have our thanks. Now this guy is fun, depending on how you've orientated the other pieces. You can twist and turn it as much as you want. And it just needs to go close by this little section. So, I don't know, it could go that way, it could go that way. I think I still like it this way. I don't know. No, maybe we'll try that way this time. See? Looks different. Okay, now last but not least, don't lose that little ball. If you've got the Stampin' Up! Mini dimensionals, one of these on the back will be a perfect fit. And we'll just add that right beside the kitty on the ground here. Okay, so you can see the difference. This is kind of what Stampin' Up! Had as their layout. Now, as I mentioned, I do think maybe they made their card base a little smaller, and I didn't realize that when I was first copying this, so I felt like there was a lot of empty white space. So I'm going to show you a fun little technique that you can do to fill in a little white space if you're ever stuck and want something. So if you've got a Stampin' Up! Blend, I have my dark blueberry bushel. I'll show you on the scrap first. You're going to take this side that has this thick line, and then you're almost just going to rub the marker tip against the lid in a flicking motion. And then do you see how I have these splatters kind of coming out? So that's how you're going to do this background. I would start up high because then your splatters are going to be nice and small, and you can move closer if you need to. So I just put a few in the top right and a few in the bottom, and it might even be fun to just open that up and do a few in one of the bottom sections here. So that's kind of fun. And there you go. That's how you can finish off that card and make a little bit of use of any extra space you have. So here's the puppy again. So fun. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I do hope that you consider ordering the set and then come back and copy these cards as well. So I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday for another edition of Show Me How It's Done. We will play with something else that's coming out in the online exclusives. And if you have any questions or you got stuck about anything, just let me know. I'm always happy to help. Bye, guys.